So good evening. Let's go to the question paper analysis of UGC NET English, December 2021, Shift 1. And this analysis is presented by Professor Academy, Chennai. And today we are going to analyze questions from 86 to 90. 86. Which among the following are the works of George Gissing, G-I-S-S-I-N-G? So we have 4 novels here. Capital A, New Grub Street. B, Agnes Grey. C, The Odd Woman. D, Mary Barton. Then we have the options. So before we go to the options, you can eliminate certain things here. So Agnes Grey, is considered one of the classics written by one of the Brontë sisters, right? Then if you eliminate B, definitely you can eliminate 2 options, option A and option C. Option A and B only, option C, B and D only. Then we are left with only 2 options, B, A and C only, D, C and D only. So choose your answer, then let's check it out. So answer is B, A and C only. So the novels by George Gissing, option A, New Grub Street, and C, The Odd Women. So these are the novels written by George Gissing. Let's check out the other ones. So when we say George Gissing, a Victorian novelist, he is known for these works: The Netherworld, New Grub Street, and The Odd Women. And this question is from the Victorian age, particularly focusing on Victorian novelists. Then we have one of the Brontë sisters, Anne Brontë. When we say Anne Brontë, she is known for her 2 novels, namely Agnes Grey and The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. Then the same age we have Elizabeth Gaskell, and she is known for her industrial novels. Novels based on the industrial age or the Victorian age and its industrial setup. So we have works like Mary Barton, Cranford, and North and South. So these are the works by Elizabeth Gaskell. So what you can do whenever you analyze a particular question, so you should read something more about the options, so that in the next NET exam, when we come across options like this, at least you can eliminate options and narrow down your chances to 2. Then let's go to question number 87. Who among the following Dickens characters appears as a ghost? Option A, Daniel Quilp, Q-U-I-L-P. Then B, Dora Spenlow. C, Esther Summerson. D, Jacob Marley. So in one of his famous work, especially something connected with the Christmas, there's a ghost. And if you can remember that novel, then you can easily narrow down and point out the answer. Answer D, Jacob Marley appears as a ghost in Dickens' work. Which work? In Christmas Carol. So in this work, A Christmas Carol, we have this famous character, a miser, an old man who is a stingy fellow. We have Scrooge. And this is the opening lines from this novel. It starts with a division called Stave 1, part 1. Part 1 itself is named Marley's Ghost. And these are the lines, opening lines. Marley was dead. Marley was a business partner of Scrooge. Now he is dead. So Marley was dead to begin with. So that's how this novel begins. There is no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon change for anything he chose to put his hand to. All right. So whenever you read a novel, please read its opening lines or end. So this is how they ask questions, or the major characters, or its divisions. For instance, this is a strange division. Generally say the part 1 or canto 1 or section 1, but A Christmas Carol is divided into, and it's called a stave. Stave means part. All right. So this is a different division. Then let's look at the other characters from Dickens' works. You have Daniel Quilp or Quilp, Quilb. He is a villain, one of the famous villain. He is a dwarf, and this villain appears in Dickens' The Old Curiosity Shop. So this is how he introduces himself. Quilp is my name. You might remember. It's not a long one. Daniel Quilp, kind of a villain, introducing himself. Okay. So then let's go to the next character, Dora Spenlow, Spenlow. She is a sweetheart of David Copperfield. David Copperfield is Charles Dickens' autobiographical novel published in 1850. So in this novel, the eponymous character, the hero or the protagonist, David Copperfield marries Dora Spenlow. And there is a scene, situation in which he meets Dora for the first time. And this is how David Copperfield reacts. All was over in a moment. I had fulfilled my destiny. I was a captive and a slave. I loved Dora Spenlow to distraction. She was more than human to me. So this is how he falls in love with Dora Spenlow. Then he marries her. Then let's go to the next character in the option, Esther Summerson. So Esther Summerson is the protagonist of Charles Dickens' novel, Bleak House. And she's also a narrator. This novel is a strange one among Dickens' work because we have two narrators in a sense, a kind of an omniscient narrator, a narrator who knows everything. And the protagonist herself also narrates the story, Esther Summerson. She is an orphan. She thinks she doesn't have a mother, maybe long dead, but she is an illegitimate child and her mother is alive, a wealthy person. So look at how she describes herself. I had never heard my mama spoken of. So no one speaks of her mother, mention her mother's name. I had never heard of my papa either, but I felt more interested about my mama. I had never worn a black frock that I could recollect. I had never been shown my mama's grave. I had never been told where it was. So an orphan, how she rises to a big stage, So that's the story is about. And she's known for her generous character. So she is one of the memorable characters created by Dickens. Then let's go to question number 88. Which of the following poems by Robert Browning contains the lines, our interests on the dangerous edge of things, the honest thief, the tender murderer, the superstitious atheist? So we have four options. Option A, a death in the desert. B, Bishop Blogram's apology. C, Count Gismond. D, love among the ruins. So we have to identify, these lines come in which work, which poem. Of course, we have this Victorian. So this time we have got quite a good questions from Victorian age. So answer B, Bishop Blogram's apology. So he is known for, Browning is known for his dramatic monologue. And this particular dramatic monologue, Bishop Blogram's apology, is a kind of a debate. This bishop is talking to Mr. Gigadibs, Gigadibs, a journalist. And they are talking about the nature of reality and faith. Of course, it's a kind of a dramatic monologue. And Bishop is trying to convince this journalist, or it's a kind of an argument. And they talk about faith, right? So that's the word, right? Bishop, who is talking about faith. And apology refers to kind of a defense here. So you despise me, Mr. Gigadibs. No depreciation, nay, I beg you, sir. Besides, it is our engagement. Don't you know? I promised if you would watch our dinner out, we would see truth drawn together. So they are going to debate on the nature of reality and faith. So that is this dramatic monologue is about. Then when we think of Robert Browning, his famous poetry collection, Men and Women, published in 1855. So these are some of the famous dramatic monologues in this work. So next time, if there is a question from this work, then we could expect something from this list. Number 1, we have Love Among the Ruins, then Fra Lippo Lippi. Then third, Taccato of Galupis. Then fourth, The Lost Ride Together. Then one of his famous work, often prescribed one, Andrea del Sarto. It's about a painter. Then we have A Grammarian's Funeral. Then One Word More. So these are some of the famous poems in this collection. You can read. You should definitely read Andrea del Sarto and Fra Lippo Lippi. Then let's go. Question number 89. Which two of the following stage directions are from Harold Pinter's play, The Birthday Party? So we have 4 statements here, or stage directions. A, the living room of a house on a seaside town. Just to think of The Birthday Party, or at least if you know the plot, you can guess the stage directions. Then B, a garbage pail on the ground next to the porch steps. Then C, a light shows from upstairs bedroom, lower floor windows being dark. Then D, he hangs the drum around his neck, taps it gently with the sticks, then marches round the table, beating it regularly. And in case you know something about this play, Birthday Party, here is a guy, Stanley Weber, he receives a gift. And if you know that gift is a drum, kind of a toy drum, then you can know that D is there. So if you go for D, then you can eliminate option A and B. So you are left with 2 options: B, A and D only, D, C and D only. So choose one. And this Stanley Weber is staying in a boarding house. And where is this boarding house? Then if you know that, then the answer is easy one. B, A and D only. These are the 2 stage directions from Harold Pinter's play, The Birthday Party. The living room of a house on a seaside town, and he hangs the drum around his neck. So this is one of his celebrated works, Harold Pinter's work. So in this work, we have Stanley Weber, former pianist, kind of instrumentalist. Now he is staying in a boarding house near a seaside town. And in that boarding house, the boarding house is run by Meg and her husband. And Meg, on his birthday, Stanley's birthday, she presents him with a drum. It's a very famous scene. It is a drum, a boy's drum. So that's how Stanley describes. But Meg, she has some soft spot for Stanley. She says, it's because you haven't got a piano, right? And these are the descriptions. So what you can do, so you can read about this play and the other major characters in this work. Because in this work, Stanley, in the next act, is beaten up by 2 strangers. Who knows, next time they may ask, who are the 2 strangers who come to this boarding house and beat Stanley up? Okay. Then let's also look at the 2 other stage directions given in question number 89. A garbage pail on the ground, or a light shows from upstairs bedroom. These 2 are from Arthur Miller, the American playwright Arthur Miller's play, All My Sons. So there's a hint that we should focus on some classic playwrights like Arthur Miller or Harold Pinter. Then let's go to the last question of today's class. Match list 1 author with list 2 text. On the one side, we have playwrights. We have A, Shano Casey, against which we have the play titled I Am Talking About Jerusalem. Then B, Dylan Thomas, against which we have The Winslow Boy. Then C, Terence Rattigan, against which we have 3, Juno and the Paycock. D, Arnold Wesker, against which we have 4, In the Shadow of the Glen. Then E, J.M. Synge, S-Y-N-G-E, Synge, 5, Under Milkwood. See, this is a kind of an easy one in the sense, at least if you know 1 or 2, because we have 5 and we can easily eliminate options. So we have 4 options here. So if you know at least one, when we say Dylan Thomas, the Welsh poet who wrote this famous radio play called Under Milkwood. So sometimes if you know one, then you can easily eliminate the option because there is only one B and one 5, Dylan Thomas and Under Milkwood. We need not bother about the other options. You can straight away get the answer. Sometimes it's a bit lucky too, if you know one. Otherwise, we have to eliminate options, come to that one. But anyway, let's look at these playwrights. So we have this Irish playwright, J.M. Synge, Synge, S-I-N-G, kind of, that's the pronunciation of this spelling, S-Y-N-G-E, Synge. So when we say J.M. Synge, J.M. Synge, we have In the Shadow of the Glen, then Riders to the Sea, that's a famous one, then The Well of the Saints, then his magnum opus or a kind of a celebrated one, The Playboy of the Western World, then The Tinker's Wedding. So next time, if there is a question from based on J.M. Synge's work, we can expect one, right? Riders to the Sea, we should read Riders to the Sea at least, and The Playboy of the Western World. These two are most famous works among his works. Then we have another Irish playwright, Sean Casey, and Sean Casey's work, given work here, Juno and the Peacock. Other works, let's get to know them. The Shadow of a Gunman, The Plough and the Stars. Third one, The Silver Tassy. Then fourth, Within the Gates, and last one here, Red Roses for Me. So these are some of his major works, Sean Casey. So 2 Irish playwrights. Then the third one, Welsh poet. Dylan Thomas is a poet, generally known for his famous poem, Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night. It's a villanelle, 19-line poem. Then his other works, Fern Hill, Poem in October, In My Craft or Sullen Art, then And Death Shall Have No Dominion. These are some of his works, poems. But this one is a play. Under Milkwood is a play. It's a radio play. So what you can do, you should definitely read Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night. So in which he addresses his father who is sick, and he advises his father not to accept death easily. You have to fight till the end. So that's the title. Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night. It's a very famous one, often prescribed one. And read about its form. When you say villanelle, it is it is set in a countryside villa, right? Then villanelle 19 lines. So you have to know how these 19 lines are arranged. And we have a refrain. A refrain is something, a line that gets repeated again and again. So the title itself is a refrain. Do not go gentle into that good night. Okay. Then you should definitely read Poem in October. That's a classic one. So with this, let's go to next playwright, Terence Rattigan, British or English playwright. His well-known work, The Winslow Boy. And let's also get to know his other works, like the Browning version, The Deep Blue Sea, then Separate Tables. So these are his works, major works. Then finally, let's come to another British or English writer, Arnold Wesker. So when we think of Arnold Wesker, we think of his famous work, Chicken Soup with Barley, or Kitchen, or Roots, then Chips with Everything. And the question we got is actually, I am talking about Jerusalem. And I am talking about Jerusalem is a part of a trilogy. It's called the Wesker trilogy. Now they group these 3 plays together and call it Wesker trilogy, which includes Chicken Soup with Barley, Roots, and I'm talking about Jerusalem. So next time that could be a question, right? So you can get 4 options, and that should definitely have Chicken Soup with Barley, Roots, and I'm talking about Jerusalem. And when we think of Arnold Wesker, we think of kitchen sink drama, SINK, kitchen sink drama. So It refers to a particular group of plays focusing on working class setup in Britain and their life. So that is called kitchen sink drama. So what you can do next, you can read about kitchen sink drama and Arnold Wesker and the other members or other playwrights who are grouped under that category, kitchen sink drama. So with this, let's end today's class. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to this channel for further notification. Thank you.